So, you join a lobby in Mario Kart World, pick your favourite character from a wide pool of options and a vehicle you think looks cool, ready to race against other players from around the world. You're expecting loads of different characters to be around you when you load in, but then you're met with this. Why are there so many swoops? There are loads of different characters and costumes to choose from, so how come so many people go with this random enemy? It obviously isn't because Swoop is everyone's favourite character. As we all know, Fishbone is the GOAT, so what makes the purple bat so good? Well, today I'm going to go through the reasons why this character is so common, especially amongst the highest level of Mario Kart World players who are solely focused on trying to perform as well as possible in any lobby they play in. Now, the most obvious thing to focus on when you're deciphering the best character in Mario Kart is the stats, but of course you need to know which stats are more important than others to maximise the benefit you get in races. When you press Y to see the details of a combo, you can see 4 different stats, but there are actually loads more hidden stats that make a big difference. Thankfully, there are multiple combo builder websites that show these extra stats, letting you get a full picture of where each character and vehicle combo excels and what they lack. To briefly explain the hidden stats, there are 3 different types of speed: smooth, rough and water. Smooth speed impacts your speed when driving on roads like on Peach Stadium. Rough speed impacts driving on terrain like on Moo Moo Meadows, and water speed impacts driving on water. In general, the most important is smooth speed by far, because you will be driving on roads so much more often than terrain or water. In fact, terrain is the most common surface out of the 3 on only 5 of the 30 standard tracks, and water isn't the most common on any of them. These 3 variants also matter for handling as well. Any combo that gets a speed increase on smooth surfaces will also get a handling bonus on smooth surfaces, giving an even stronger incentive to avoid any combo that has solely rough or water benefits. The next hidden stat is Mini Turbo, and since there are so many boosts in this game from drifts, tricks, rails and wall rides, having a high Mini Turbo stat will prove very beneficial. The final hidden stat is Coin Curve, which basically impacts how much your speed will increase per coin you grab. Every combo will get 5% more speed when they have 20 coins, but a combo with a higher Coin Curve stat will get larger speed increases earlier on when gathering coins compared to combos with a low Coin Curve stat. In general, combos with a low speed stat will have a better Coin Curve, which contributes to the speed stat evening out a bit, as higher speed combos will get lower speed increases until they get to the very high coin counts. Weight and acceleration have a negative correlation, and since acceleration is possibly the most important stat in the game, and weight is the least important stat for sure, the ideal combo will generally be light in weight. It also happens that lower weight combos have a higher handling stat, a higher mini turbo stat and a better coin curve, giving them so many benefits for online racers. Swoop is one of the 4 characters with the lowest weight stat, and in return the highest acceleration, mini turbo, coin curve and joint highest handling with a couple slightly heavier characters. The problem is that these really lightweight characters have the lowest speed in the game, and of course speed is something you can't neglect entirely despite the coin curve making it slightly less impactful. Thankfully for Swoop, you can make up for the lack of speed with the vehicle choice, with the Rob Hog or Mac Rocket getting a big smooth speed boost alongside some of the highest acceleration, mini turbo and coin curve stats, plus the best smooth handling stat in the game. The 3 bikes with higher acceleration and mini turbo don't gain enough in those categories to make up for the loss in smooth speed and smooth handling compared to the 2 best bikes, so players will generally go for these ones by default for the best stats. So basically, the 4 lightest characters on the Rob Hog or Mac Rocket are the best combos in the game when focusing solely on stats, at least the majority of the time. But why is Swoop so much more common than Parabidibud, Baby Peach and Baby Daisy? Well, there are 2 reasons. The first one is that Swoop is physically smaller than the other 3 options, which lets you see what is happening around you ever so slightly more. Now you're probably thinking that it makes no difference at all, and to be honest you're probably right 99% of the time, but I do think there can be very specific scenarios where it has a small impact on your visibility of players and items around you, especially when using the rear view button. In these two screenshots, you can see that Explorer Baby Peach is taking up a bit more of the screen than Swoop. So if anything is ever on the screen in the region that is taken up by Baby Peach and not Swoop, then you would be benefiting from using Swoop technically. I played a few online races to see if I could get in any situations where I could see something around Swoop's head that I wouldn't be able to see if I was using Explorer Baby Peach, and as expected, there weren't any game-changing advantages. Nothing major jumped out at me to think using Swoop gave me a much better chance at doing well. Though I did get in some situations where a character or item behind me was more visible, giving me a slight bit more information to work with. For example, in this clip I quickly looked behind me and saw a Koopa Troopa player right next to Swoop's head, but if I was using Explorer Baby Peach, the Koopa Troopa would have been very difficult to notice. This didn't really matter in the situation at the time, but knowing this Koopa Troopa player's position and items could have helped me make a decision in that moment. If that Koopa player had a red shell and I saw it from looking back there, I would have had the chance to do something about it. But if I didn't see it due to the reduced visibility of Explorer Baby Peach, then I could have missed out on the opportunity to avoid it, which shows a disadvantage of using the bigger combo. I know it is extremely specific and once again hardly matters, but if you have multiple situations like this, then eventually one of them will result in getting hit because of the size of the character. It would just be an extreme rarity. I imagine there is also an advantage to having a tiny bit more visibility when looking forward as well. This game is extremely chaotic with all the items being thrown around, so the amount of time you have to react to things can be quite limited. But if you can see ever so slightly more around your character, you may notice items a few frames earlier on the odd occasion, which could be the difference between getting hit or not. I know it is a very minuscule thing and fairly insignificant, but why not take the small advantage if you're trying to maximize your performance if there's no downside to it at all? So, since Swoop is the smallest character of the four, players do have an incentive to pick it over the others. This leads on to the second reason to use Swoop, which is the fact that if many people are using Swoop, you can blend in with the crowd, making it harder for people to target you. Now this is very much focused on competitive Mario Kart lobbies, which are held in private friend rooms where 12 or 24 players play 12 races to see who can accumulate the most points. When you play in these rooms, after about 8 or 9 races, the points will likely be a bit spread out across all the players, so some players will be more reachable for you than others, and as a result you might want to hit those players more in the final few races to beat them in points overall. For example, let's say after 9 races you're in 3rd overall with 72 points, in 2nd place there is a Baby Daisy player on 75 points, and in 1st there is a Swoop player on 76 points. For the final 3 races you will want to take any opportunity to give those specific players worse positions, so knowing where they are at all times will help you out. If all the other players in the room are using Swoop, then you'll be able to tell where the Baby Daisy player is at all times, so if you ever hit them you can guarantee you're hitting the right player. Of course, this is not the case with the Swoop player in 1st. You will only ever know where they are if you see their name, which isn't always going to happen. An easy situation to understand is if you pull the shock, you'll be able to see on the minimap if the Baby Daisy player is currently using a dodge item or not. But if there are multiple of Swoop players in dodge items, you'll have no idea whether one of them is the 1st place player. As a result, it'll be a lot easier for you to ensure the Baby Daisy player doesn't benefit from the shock, showing why blending in with the rest of the lobby can help you out. I will say that if you're playing in a team format, it could actually be better to not blend in, so your teammate can see where you are more easily. But the late targeting factor does still apply for everyone you're against, so it kind of balances out. Either way, most events are free-for-alls anyway, and if you just communicate with your teammates well, it shouldn't be a problem to be the same character as most other players. So that is why Swoop is the most common character in the game. Of course, the stats are the most important thing by a long shot. The extra small benefits of Swoop in particular are just top players trying to maximise their chances of doing well, since every point matters when trying to beat other players at a similar skill level. If you use one of the other 3 characters with the exact same stats, then you will likely not even notice. I personally use Parabidibud most of the time and it makes practically no difference, although I do think blending in could help in certain situations when I play in 24 player events. There are also other characters with fairly similar stats you can use and do perfectly well with too. Some of the best players in the world used the Snowman for a bit and still got good results. Ultimately though, a lot of people want to use the best possible combo, so Swoop is going to be their automatic choice. Thanks for watching.